because I love these filmmakers. As a kid, I can go back to, of course, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. These were my mom, she brought me on Star Wars. Like, she was a big Star Trek fan, and when Star Wars came out, she was like, "Oh, we have to see the Star Wars movie," and still is excited now. She watches it with my grandkids. That being said, my mom, like, the very first film I ever saw was Mahogany, which was with Diana Ross, and because my mom was such a big Motown fan, and so she. I remember, she remembers, like, I was too young to see the movie. They took me to the theater. I guess I was like 4, and I sat on the edge of my seat the entire time and just was like, just like, I pulled all in, like it was, and that soundtrack still, like, I love it just because of that connection to it, and so, that was it was a big thing, but mostly because of the music, but I remember my mom taking me to, like, Pretty in Pink and a lot of these, soundtracks that have a lot of music, that really means a lot to me. My dad, I remember, like, had all these bootlegs of James Bond movies, like these VHS tapes. Again, I was way too young to watch these things, but I was so mesmerized by, Goldfinger and You Only Live Twice, but there were so many of those I would watch, and I probably shouldn't have been watching those movies at like age 10. But sonically, there was always something interesting going on. Even from, like, small little details to the laser or the car itself, or the Oddjob's hat, the way it would hit in the walls and stuff. They really made space for all these special things to come through. It's funny how much of an influence it is on me. I remember, like, RoboCop when I was a little older, and and then, like, Kubrick, Clockwork Orange and Shining were just really big, influences for me. And of course, there's a lot of thriller aspects to these. So I think I had, I know my mom showed me a lot of, like, black and white movies when I was a kid, and so I saw a lot of, more thriller-based type, films, back then. But I definitely have a huge, back catalog of that kind of stuff.